tables to the right of the audience. We will be conducting business as outlined on the agenda. From time to time, the board may deviate from the agenda. As president of this body, I will inform those in attendance of any deviations. This meeting is being recorded for the public record. Because of this, we request that personal conversations are kept to a minimum and that all cell phones are set to vibrate. Any phone calls shall be taken outside of the chambers. If you are interested in commenting during the public hearing portion of the commission's deliberations, please sign up on the sheets located on the tables to the right of the audience. When your name is called, please step forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Please address your comments to the board and not to staff or to the petitioner. Your comments should relate directly to the case at hand. During the conduct of the public hearing portion of the commission's deliberations, the petitioner will have 10 minutes to present their case to the commission. Remonstrators will have 10 minutes to present objections to the petition. Persons in support of the petition, other than the petitioner, will have 10 minutes to present support for the petition. Finally, the petitioner will close the public hearing portion of the presentation with a 5-minute rebuttal period. Once the public hearing is closed, no additional testimony will be heard unless it is solicited by members of the commission during the question and answer phase of the commission's deliberations. Subdivision plat and development plan petitions are ministerial requests, meaning that if the proposal meets the requirements set forth in the town's development ordinances, the Plan Commission must approve the request. In the interest of transparency, state law requires that the Plan Commission hold a public hearing, even if the development proposal must be approved. Responses to public comments and questions may be given once the public hearing portion is closed. We do understand that there may be several persons who wish to speak. In order to keep the meeting running in a timely fashion, we would request that you not repeat previous comments. Thank you for your assistance in facilitating a respectful, fair, and timely meeting. Again, welcome to our meeting, and please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call, please.
Bill Reed. Here. Jennifer Spencer. Here. Mason White.
Here.
Dave Goffin.
Here.
Catherine Ranger.
Here.
Greg Susan.
Here.
Bob Moonberg.
Here.
Thank you. And before we proceed, I would like to welcome our newest member, Jennifer Spencer. She was just chosen to sit on the Plan Commission, and so we are looking forward to your input and participation. Okay, election of board officers. Mr. Taylor, would you like to guide us through that?
Yes, the process is that the temporary chair will ask for any nominations for president, and you'll accept any nominations. Nominations do not require a second. So if you have someone you want to nominate, you just nominate them. And then once you have all the nominations, then you'll call for a vote. If there are more than one nomination, you'll take them in the order in which they're nominated and simply ask if you're in favor of this candidate and then second nomination. And then move on to the vice president, again, ask for nominations, and then the secretary. The secretary has generally been a member of your staff, I would remind you. And that's the process.
Okay. So let's go ahead and start. Do we have any nominations for president of the Plan Commission?
I'll nominate Catherine Ransberg for president.
Other people are eligible, you know.
While that may be the case, I also nominate Catherine to be president.
So that was not fair. Okay. Are there any other nominations? Okay, let's take a vote.
Bill Reed, Jennifer Spencer. 4. Nathan Pike,
4.
Dave Kaufman,
4.
Catherine Ransberg,
4.
Greg Susan,
4.
Bob Lukenberg.
4.
Well, thank you, and I'm going to introduce our secret handshake at the next meeting, so. Okay, next we move on to Vice President. Do we have any nominations? I would like to nominate Paul Gluckenberger for Vice President.
I too would like to nominate Paul.
I would like to nominate Paul as well.
So you're stuck. Are there any other nominations? Then let's take a vote.
Bill Reed,
4.
Jennifer Spencer. 4. Nathan Pike,
4.
Dave Kaufman,
4.
Catherine Ransberg,
4.
Greg Susan,
4.
Bob Lukenberg.
4.
Very good. And Paul is going to be in charge of creating our Plan Commission anthem. So we'll hopefully have words and tune for that next week. And the next position is secretary, and I believe Bill has been our secretary.
Yeah, historically, the planning director is the secretary of the planning commission.
So do we have any nominations for secretary?
I'd like to nominate Bill Peoples.
Okay. Any other nominations? In that case, let's take a vote.
Bill Reed,
4.
Jennifer Spencer. 4. Nathan Pike,
An enthusiastic 4.
Dave Kaufman,
4.
Catherine Ransberg,
4.
Greg Susan,
4.
Bob Lukenberg.
4.
All right. I need to come up with a special task for Bill. Moving on, approval of meeting minutes. Has everybody had an opportunity to read through the meeting minutes from the last meeting of December 20th? And are there any edits or changes or comments?
I did note with, I believe the gentleman from Banning, it noted his address as being Danville. I think it's actually supposed to be Plainfield for the record.
Bill, do you know anything about that?
I don't, but we can look at it. Let's say he would have been in,
I got it. Yeah, there you go.
which one was that? Easton Gray. Oh, yeah, it would have been Easton Gray. So you're right, it probably is Plainfield.
Okay.
Are there any other edits or corrections or comments on the meeting minutes? If not, do we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
Move we approve the meeting minutes of December 20th, 2022.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting minutes are accepted. This is the period now, we're moving on to the public comment section, and this is the time in which anybody present can speak, or online. Are we online still? No? Okay. Or anybody present can speak to items or issues that are not on tonight's agenda. If you want to talk about something that's on tonight's agenda, we wait till that gets called. But otherwise, if there's something else you'd like to speak, now would be the time to come forward for that. So is there anybody signed up to speak about anything not on tonight's agenda? Anybody present who would like to come forward and speak on anything not already on the agenda? Okay, and nobody having come forward, the public comment section for items that are not on tonight's agenda is closed. Do we have any requests for continuances or agenda modifications?
We have one request for a continuance, map P 2216 Countryside Estates primary plat, which is a request for approval for primary plat to subdivide 38.6 acres into 61 lots for single-family residential development. Petitioner still hasn't filed amended plans on this one. The intention is to file amended plans for on the 2nd of February for hearing at the next meeting. That's the deadline for revised plan submissions for the next meeting, the February 27th meeting date. So the staff is asking that you continue this one for one more month to the February 27th, 2023 hearing date, where we anticipate that we'll have a public hearing at that time.
Okay. Do we have a motion to continue that item? Or any discussion, I guess I should say. Do we have any discussion on that first?
I move that we continue MAP 22-16 until the February Planning Commission meeting.
Do we have a second?
Second.
So let's vote.
Bill Reed,
4.
Jennifer Spencer,
4.
Lisa Pike,
4.
David Coffey,
4.
Catherine Ransford,
4.
Greg Susan,
4.
Bob Lukenberger,
4.
motion carried.
Okay. Doesn't appear to be any old business, so we will now move on to new business and hand it over to Mr. Peoples.
Map A 2221, Academy Sports Outdoor / Gables of Avon, Lot 7, plat amendment. This is a request for approval of a major subdivision amendment to subdivide an existing Lot 3 into 2 parcels, a Lot 3 and a Lot 7. It's a 17.18 acre property located at approximately 9779 East US 36, US Highway 36. As I indicated, this is a request to subdivide an existing portion of the Gables of Avon, the large lot in the back that has the multi-tenant retail center in it, into 2 lots. The first lot will be Lot 3, which will be the existing portion of the development that has all of the multi-tenant retail centers in it. And then the new Lot 7 will contain a new construction for a sporting goods store. The history on this one is another map amendment done in a similar fashion back in 2009, which cut up a larger Lot 3 into a Lot 3 and 4, with 4 being, I believe, the lot behind it. This is the area right here. Hard to see here, but the multi-tenant retail center has Buffalo Wild Wings and a number of other tenant spaces in there, half-price books and so forth. And then you have a large area here to the east that is unimproved right now. It's sort of a grassy field. The request of this major subdivision amendment would subdivide that large lot into 2 lots to allow the construction of a sporting goods retailer on the new lot. The shopping center is largely developed. In fact, this is probably one of the few areas of this shopping center that's left for redevelopment or development. The request, as you've seen it, as it's presented to you, is consistent with the requirements of the Unified Development Ordinance. A lot of the details associated with this will be handled in the development plan review petition, which is the next thing on your agenda. This is the layout of the lots right here, with the balance of the shopping center here remaining in Lot 3, and then Lot 7, which will include the sporting goods retailer and the existing parking that's there right now. We do recommend approval of this petition. We don't have really any conditions on this. Like as I said, the detailed review on this one will be done with the development plan review petition, which is the next item on your agenda. And I would be happy to answer any questions that you have.
I was just trying to figure out Lot 7, then Lot 3, and Lot 4, and then when Ian said, well, Lot 7 is the existing lot now of the whole development that's already been built. I mean, I've sat in the parking lot today and looked at it. I mean, I know where it's at, so I was just trying to make sense of everything.
Yeah, so it's not shown very well, but
Actually, the other map showed it better where it says, yeah,
Yeah,
Like lot 3 is the existing center.
right.
Lot 7, sh-
Lot 7 here has existing parking on the northern 2/3 of it. And then it has a grassy lot right
Right.
here. And that's where the next petition is.
see, the confusion though is when you said here lots 3 and 4.
Oh, well, that was in the history.
Okay,
So in the history, that's why I brought this one up. So the Gables goes all the way to 36. So you sort of have a lot 1. One of these is a lot 1 and 2, and then you've got lot 3. And then at certain point, some of these other ones were developed. So this was an entire, so that back in 2009 was cutting in some of these lots right up here. So you have like a lot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this will end up being the 7 down here.
okay.
So this is just making pre-existing lots smaller to add additional lots?
Right, so the petitioner or the property owner here can own this property rather than lease it.
Okay. Now, did I understand you correctly that we would be losing parking space as a result of allowing that for development?
Well, so the use that in the development plan review, there's going to be a small amount of maybe like 3 or 4 spaces just because they're reconfiguring some of the spaces out in front of the shopping center. But they are required to have, I think, 154 or 156 spaces, and they have 180. So
Okay.
they have much more parking than they are required to have under the ordinance.
And Mr. Taylor, just to remind everybody, this is a ministerial, this particular request falls under our ministerial functions, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Any further questions for staff? In that case, let's have the petitioner come forward.
Good evening. My name is Kai Burke, address 3039 Premier Parkway, Duluth, Georgia, 30097. I'm a Director of Civil Engineering for Core States here on behalf of the owner and Academy Sports. With another Academy and Alex, the actual project owner. Honestly, I certainly won't take 10 minutes, but not a whole lot to say beyond Mr. Peoples' presentation. If you could go to the third, actually that one right there, I'm sorry. This is an aerial photo. That red line kind of gives you a view of roughly where that lot division will be, just to clear that up. But happy to answer any questions on the subdivision. And then obviously as we go into the development plan review.
Welcome to Indiana.
Thank you.
Do we have questions for the petitioner?
You.
Discussion? Sorry, thank you. I've had a holiday since then. Public comment. Anybody who'd like to comment on this particular petition? Nope. Okay. Discussion.
Yeah, I think based off what we're seeing and what staff has prepared for us, I don't see any issues here, and definitely makes sense for what's coming here to divide this up for future development.
And as usual, we have an excellent report from our staff, which is why we can never let them leave.
Well, I think the petitioner did a great job too of presenting his case, so don't just give Bill all the credit.
Any further,
Revenue is generally appreciated.
any further discussion? Okay, in that case, let's go ahead and take a vote.
Hillary.
4.
Do we need to make a motion first?
Make a motion.
Sorry. God. Yes, let's do a motion. You are the guys that voted me, okay? So I'm just reminding you. Yes, let's have a motion. Do we have a motion?
I move that we approve map A 22-21 as submitted.
Okay, let's take a vote. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, let's take a vote.
Hillary.
4.
Amber Spencer. 4. Mason Pike.
4.
Dave Cop.
4.
Catherine Rand.
4.
Greg Season.
4.
Paul Kuchenberg.
4.
Okay. And now we move on to the next item on the agenda, which will be strikingly similar.
So this is DPR 22-23, Academy Sports Outdoor. And this is a request for development plan review petition to approve the construction of a 63,000 square foot retail building, site improvements for the use as a sporting goods store, sporting goods and outdoor store. It's a 4.89 acre property, east of London is near 9875 East 36. On my staff report, there is one error, and that was the action requested on the staff report. I clearly used a previous staff report as a template for this one. I forgot to change the action request. So the action request in your staff report says that the petitioner is requesting a 4,600 square foot building to house a dental office. That's not true. Again, the history on this one, you've already approved map A 2221, and then map 0904 is a previous plat that subdivided a large lot in lots 3 and 4. Here's the location again, and this is a request for a DPR approval to construct that 63,000 square foot to an existing or an existing multi-tenant retail center for retail sales of sporting goods and outdoor outfitter. The access to the site is already established through existing access points to US 36. The internal transportation plan of the shopping center already exists. We're really dealing with the construction of the one building on this existing shopping center to close out this shopping center. The only issue that we had when we reviewed it was that the signage plan that was shown at the time, and of course, we normally don't get into a lot of details in the process for signage, but the signage that is shown on the elevations is inconsistent with the ordinance requirements. We had notified the petitioner, and they're going to look through that and either modify the sign plan or seek variances to the BZA if they need to at some future time. But other than that, the petitioner has met all the requirements for the Unified Development Ordinance for this petition. Here's the general layout of the site. This is the landscape plan excerpt from the site showing the foundation landscaping and the loading docks back there. This is with the modification, some of the modifications to the parking area right up here in the store. The balance of the site will stay as it currently is, which is reflected right here. As I indicated in the previous petition, I misspoke a little bit. The request would require 159 parking spaces, and there are 187 parking spaces shown on the site. Just to clarify that for the record. Our request is consistent with the landscaping standards. Request is consistent with the architectural standards. And this shows the architectural elevations of the front and side of the store. Those are the two that are going to be most visible.
Is that the sign that you're talking about that's not in compliance right
Yeah,
there?
this is the large sign, about 600 square foot right here, and then there's small signs right here, and here. So yeah, the way our ordinance is written, you're allowed one wall sign, and maybe two. They can pull out the ordinance. And it limits it to, I think, 200 square feet or 100 square feet. So this is big, too big for the sign, for the tenant space, and of course, there are a number of signs on the front facade there. So they're gonna review that. Obviously, they've got some time because they gotta build the structure first. They'll review that and decide how they're gonna tackle that. Maybe that may end up being a petition that the board of zoning appeals will hear at the time, or maybe they'll just amend their plans to comply with the order. We do recommend approval of this petition, subject to the 4 conditions outlined up there. So there's 3 standard ones we bring to every petition, and then, of course, we just want to overtly make sure that the development plan shows that the signage shall be subject to review and approval permitting process, and shall not be considered approved as part of this petition. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
My only question is, are you comfortable with the comments received from your email dated December 14th?
Which one is that?
To Alex Asgar. After reviewing the submittals, you had planning and staff has the following comments. And then they responded.
Oh, yeah, that's,
That.
yeah, that's, that was the attack letter, and they addressed all those comments.
So Bill, what you just told us is that everything that's considered here, they meet all the requirements. Signage is responsibility of staff to approve. So unless a variance is sought, that's not something we usually look at here. And usually we don't see that here.
Yeah, so signage is typically not shown on development plans. We do have a provision in the ordinance as we review signage. So it's usually 50-50. Sometimes people show signage, sometimes they don't. If they show signage, we'll make comments on it, but it's not final. The approval's not final until we issue a sign permit on it.
Okay, so that's not something that we have to consider, that everything else, if it meets the requirement, then that's good.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll make sure that the signage meets the requirements, whether it's through overt permitting based on the ordinance standard, or whether the Board of Zoning Appeals at some point in the future approves a variance of the sign standards.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions for staff? Okay, we'll have the petitioner come forward.
Do I need to give my name and address for the record again, or are we good? I can do it.
Please.
Kai Burke with Core States Group, 3039 Premier Parkway, Duluth, Georgia, 30097. Again, we're here for DPR 2223, approval for a Academy Sports Store, 63,000 square foot retailer on the far eastern end of Gables of Avon. I do have the plans if you want to take a look at them, but you should all have them in your packet. Just I guess a few quick things that I would note. Obviously signage is not something we're seeking approval on tonight, just shown on our standard package. The only parking spaces that we're removing were just 4 in the front, I believe, to bring the site up to ADA code and make sure that the existing ADA spots met current code. So that's really the only changes we're proposing to the site. Just kind of putting the building in that pad and then connecting to existing utilities and drainage. So happy to answer any questions.
Can you tell us a little bit about Academy? I'm assuming this is a retail chain?
Yes, ma'am. Academy is a retail chain. They're headquartered just outside of Houston. I think about 280 stores across the country. So typical, 50 to 65,000 square foot sporting goods retailer. They focus on not just the team sports and athletic wear, but also camping, outdoors, firearms, those kind of things. So.
I thought you would have looked that up already. Google.
I do,
I just want to make sure it wasn't a chicken place. So,
I have a question for the petitioner. At this time, does the petitioner anticipate any outdoor storage? I've been to an academy sports down in like Houston area, and sometimes there's kayaks and whatnot outside. Is that something the petitioner anticipates doing? And is that something that needs to be taken into account for by the town?
There's typically some outdoor sales. I think that varies by programming, by market, but there is typically some as allowed by code.
Thanks.
Do they need to get approval though later on down the road, not for this, but
I suppose when they've got a better. I suppose when they better have a better conception of how they're gonna configure their outdoor display area. What we would, I'll have to read the ordinance. I think the plan commission approves of that. I don't think that's something. Let me do that right now. If it requires plan commission review, we'll bring it under the same plan commission number of this petition. So you'll just hear it under the same plan commission number, and it'll be a request to approve some outdoor storage and display. It is in tier 3, so it's not tier 1, or I think tier 1 and 2, I think it's prohibited, but in tier 3, they should be fine with a limited amount of outdoor display and storage. It just depends on where they put it and how much of it is done. But we'll figure that out when they.
well, because I'm just talking out loud, they're at the end of the strip center. Maybe the end cap is an area that it could be used for. That's for another day.
Yeah, outdoor storage and sales areas exceeding 15% of the under roof area of the associated structure does require plan commission review and approval. So we could administratively review it and approve it, and then I would come back and tell you that I did that. If it's under 15% of the under roof area, if it exceeds 15% of the under roof area, then we would bring it back to you under this plan commission case number so that you guys can review it and approve it.
and so far, no waivers, correct?
Nope, no waivers.
Any further questions for the petitioner? Okay, go ahead and have a seat.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody who would like to offer public comment with regards to this petition, this agenda item? Nobody? Okay, public comment period is closed. Discussion.
I think the petition is pretty clear cut from my perspective. I think with the conditions recommended by staff, that makes sense. And as I mentioned, I've been to an Academy Sports in Texas before, and I think it fit well here in our community, so.
That almost sounded like a motion, Mason.
I can make one.
Yeah, I'd
It'd be
agree.
appropriate, it would be appropriate for us to have some discussion first.
Yeah, I'd agree with what Mason said, is like there really is, the petitioner has really brought forward plans that meet all the ordinances. You know, signage, we don't typically see a lot of that till later in the development, and staff usually approves that. So, yeah, it's like nice to have a pretty clean petition.
It's a good fit for that spot too. It's a good use for that particular spot, so. If there's no further discussion, would anybody like to make a motion?
I move that we approve DPR 22-23 Academy Sports and Outdoor Development Plan, subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report on file.
Second,
Second.
let's vote.
Hillary,
4.
Dennis Spencer. 4. Mason Pike,
4.
Dave Cotton,
4.
Catherine Randall,
4.
Greg Richards,
4.
Paul Gutenberg,
4.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome to Avon.
Not quite as balmy as Atlanta.
Stick around for Wednesday, it's gonna snow.
Yeah. Okay, other business. Do we have any administrative approvals?
Yes, we do. We had two. One of them was one of them I thought we were going to do last week, but the plan I have as a planning, as a zoning administrator, approved two development plan review petitions. The first one is an addition, DPR 2219, which is an addition under the Pine Tree Elementary. They have small additions on the northwest and southeast part of the existing building, and they've extended a cul-de-sac and modified some of their bus parking to accommodate an expansion of that elementary school so they can teach more students. And then DPR 2221, the Avon Academy parking lot modification. And in this particular case, they've added somewhere in the neighborhood of about 15 additional parking spaces onto what is currently their administrative building. But the school system is modifying that building and doing some, I think, special needs education on the ground floor, and then moving their administrative offices either, I think, in the basement and on the second floor. But they're going to use their current administrative building as educational space to house some of their special needs or special education requirements. I think historically they've had those off-site, and they're now pulling their special education components into their high school and into their own buildings and educating those students. Other than that, those are the two. The only other administrative one I see on the horizon is a couple of additions onto the high school. That's still pending through there, but those two were approved in the last month.
Thank you for that. Committee reports.
Catherine, I have one question.
Yes.
Do we need to do an annual assignment to the BZA from the Plan Commission? So we haven't done that yet. Because last year, that was my position on the BZA, was the Plan Commission representative.
Oh,
It must be one of your citizen members, so it cannot be Greg or Bill or Mason. It has to be one of the other members who's not here by virtue of being a government representative.
And I'll just say, if the commission would let me, I would appreciate serving on the BZA. I do enjoy that, and I'd like to continue doing that.
Isn't Dave on too? Weren't you on the BZA too?
I am.
Last year I was a backup.
Oh, okay.
And I'm also on it. So any objection to Paul Guckenberger being the Plan Commission representative on the BZA?
You'll need to make a motion. It's an appointment by you.
By
the-
me?
By the Plan Commission.
Okay.
It's an appointment, so you'll need to have someone make a motion.
Would anybody like to move to have Paul be our representative on the BZA?
I'll make that motion to approve Paul Guckenberger as the Planning Commission's BZA representative.
Second.
Okay, let's vote.
Four.
Jennifer Spencer. 4. Mason Pike.
4.
Dave Kaufman.
4.
Catherine Ransberg.
4.
Greg Zuzen.
4.
Paul Guckenberg.
4.
There's always a guy like that, Paul. It's usually.
Congratulations, Paul.
That's good, because the Board of Zoning Appeals has a great deal of work.
Yeah, all of the meetings that are,
They've all been moved to today.
to the February meeting, so we have 9.
Oh, my goodness.
9 on the agenda. Is there one? I did want to ask, since I have the two of you here, are you able to come a half hour early, which would be 6 p.m. to do training before?
Probably. When is that meeting?
It's the third Tuesday.
It's the third Tuesday. What is that?
I don't have, I have too many days in there. The 21st. I'll be sending out an email, but I just figured I'd ask you guys, so.
I should be able to do that.
Okay.
Right now, the February Plan Commission meeting is fairly light. I think there's only 2 or 3 cases on that agenda. So we'll also be doing training for the Plan Commission at the next meeting, the February meeting.
And is the request to do that beforehand or after?
I think we'll just start it at 6:30 and then
Do it
start the
afterwards?
BZA meeting right after that.
Okay.
Well, we may want to do it at the end.
Doesn't matter to me.
Because I think next week or next month is when Countryside Estates comes in. I would anticipate there's going to be remonstrators for Countryside Estates. So yeah, what we'll probably do is finish the business and put the training at the end
Okay.
so that the citizens aren't waiting to say
Well, and I
say
think
their
it-
piece.
Well, I think it's better to do it at the end anyway, because when we have that crunched period of time, we end up rushing through where there's not really an ability to ask questions and that sort of thing. So,
Yeah.
okay, so we'll just have the Plan Commission training after the next meeting.
After the business is done.
Are you
Okay.
able to give us a brief highlight of what that training will entail? Because I know we did receive some probably midway through last year, but is it new content, just a reminder? What's 10-second highlight?
It's a combination. What I'll do is I'll give you, I think the last one I did was like 27 pages of material, which has everything you need to know. I won't go through all that at the training. What I will try to hit are points of areas of emphasis, I'm going to put in some information this year on vested rights, which is never talked about before, but I've had that come up in another Plan Commission, so it's kind of important. Pretty high level, actually, pretty high level stuff. And then we have updates on new cases. I won't go through all of those, but I'll go through the ones that I think are particularly instructive. There's a case out of Brownsburg that is particularly instructive about a rezone, and I've already got all this laid out. I'm just trying to work from memory. But anyway, the intention is to give you everything you need in writing, but then in the verbal part of the presentation to cover what's new or what's just very important.
Got it. Thanks.
Do we have any committee reports? BZA did not meet.
Redevelopment is next week.
Redevelopment is next week?
Yeah,
Okay.
it got moved.
Any other committee reports? Okay. Our next meeting is February 27th at 23rd. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to add for the good of the order? If not, meeting adjourned.